Good morning. This is Nandu Radhakrishnan from Lamar University, and here are my 2 cents about the Laurel or Yanny file that's going viral. What I did is I recorded Yanny and Laurel on a text-to-speech converter online software, on an online tool, and you're going to hear Yanny and Laurel, but I spliced the viral file of Yanny or Laurel after the synthetic Yanny and again after the synthetic Laurel. Now perceptually, for a moment I heard Laurel. To begin with, I heard Yanny in that viral file, but when I put synthetic speech Yanny and put the viral file in between, and then when I heard Laurel from the synthetic speech, I started perceiving the viral file as Laurel as well, but that lasted just for a minute or two, but then I went back to my the Yanny that I perceived. I leave it to you. You listen to both and you tell me what you perceive, or if your perception changed from Yanny to Laurel, and then I'm going to take you through spectrograms and spectral analyses of these files. So here we go. Oops, let me unmute my laptop.
Yanny, 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 Laurel, 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 Yanny, 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 Yanny.
Great. So I'm not sure if your perception changed, but when I heard Yanny, close to Yanny with the synthetic speech, I was 100% sure that it was Yanny. But when I heard it with Laurel, I started perceiving more of Laurel, but somewhere in between. Now let's take a look at spectrograms, and those are not speech scientists or speech pathologists or who slept through their speech science class. Spectrogram shows the harmonics or partials of sounds, speech sounds in this case, and it lays down the harmonics, and the dark lines that you see here, the horizontal lines, are harmonics, and the red ones are where the resonant frequencies are, or the formant frequencies are. So here this is going to be Yanny and Laurel from the synthetic text-to-speech converter, and then our viral file right there.
Yanny, Laurel, Yanny.
So let's take a look at the formants here. Look at the formant structure and notice that there is a distinct difference between Yanny and Laurel for sure. And now we get to this confusing format which has half of the year-like transition. However, we have, this might be the third format, even though it looks like the second. I guess Pratt did not track the first format here. So the third format dips down for the R sound. It's a classic signature of R. But it goes back to the E format where the F1, F2 changes. So that's a classic confused Yanny or Laurel format. And if you look at the spectra, that is for Yanny from the synthetic speech, and this is for Laurel again from synthetic speech. Notice that the spectral structures are completely different. We have the hump right there, 629-ish, whereas for Yanny it starts around 319 and then peaks around 500-ish. And notice that the high frequencies are almost flatter, whereas the high frequencies have a greater boost of energy for Yanny. Now let's put up the viral file. Now here it is. Notice that this high frequency, after 4000 hertz ish, we have greater energy, which is not seen in Laurel, the synthetic speech sound. And this hump that we see there is more around 800, which matches closely to the Laurel and a little bit to Yanny. So it is a perfect blend of both. So what you perceive, what your ears perceive, is more of a game of psychoacoustics, depending on your frequency response pattern after an audiogram test. So based on your hearing sensitivity, hearing levels, the audiogram pattern that you would get for after a hearing test, you may perceive Yanny or Laurel. So it'll be good to compare these results, your perception, with your audiometric tests. Now, do we have an answer here, whether it's Yanny or Laurel? With the spectra or the spectral analysis, I'm leaning more towards Yanny. With the spectrogram, I see this classic R sound, so I'm leaning more towards Laurel. And with the perception of synthetic files and the vital file that's going on, I'm leaning more towards Yanny. At least my perception is leaning more towards Yanny, but it tends to confuse me when I listen to Laurel and then get back to the vital file. So if I have confused you further, mission accomplished.